Second Corinthians must have been a difficult letter for Paul to write because he had to list his credentials as an apostle. Paul was reluctant to do so as a humble servant of Christ, but he knew it was necessary. Paul also knew that most of the believers in Corinth had taken his previous words to heart and were beginning to mature in their faith. He affirmed their commitment to Christ. The Bible, I remember my first Bible when I was younger. I used to just have it in my presence, or holding it after reading it sometimes, or through prayer was enough just to restore diminishing faith or discouragement. Did you ever feel discouraged after reading the Bible though? I know I have, and more especially during these current times right now. When I read what a Christian should be like and how we should respond in faith when we struggle, well, I'm often reminded the old me is still around. Now, there's times that the emotional weight of failure, it crushes me, and I often feel perplexed and not very joyful. And I imagine Paul often felt that way during his 31 plus years of ministry as he described his hardships to God when he would talk with them. And now in 2 Corinthians 4, verses 6 through 9, for God who said, let the light shine out of darkness, made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory, displayed in the face of Christ. But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. Now you see, Paul, he described the knowledge of God's glory revealed in Christ as a treasure of light. It was treasure and light. Now, God has shown this light in his heart, and he gave him a mission of carrying the gospel to the world. That was what his mission was. That was his light. Now, however, Paul, he said the vessels for carrying this treasure were himself and his co-workers, which are the fragile clay jars. And by this, Paul meant that he and his friends, they faced many hardships in their ministry, and their own power is limited. It's only the power of God that was keeping them going. Some of Paul's accusers in Corinth may have been saying that an apostle who is truly connected to God should not experience that much suffering. And I think that same false assumption kind of exists today. In other words, God may allow us to be afflicted and to feel despair, but he always provides a way to keep us going through these hard times. I mean, think back on some of the things you experienced and how you got through them. This demonstrates that his powerful use of weaker vessels, which is us sometimes, is all eventually for his greater glory. And at the end of the day, I find that prayer and meditation help to soothe my present sufferings, even if they don't fully go away. And like Paul, I am merely just a fragile clay jar.